good, everybody? Look, y'all know who I am, but for those who don't know, I go by the name of Gabriel Ori, and this is my business partner.
JR, what's up, peoples?
Listen, man, this is another Friday, and we're glad you're rocking here with the one, the only, the Ask a Producer. Come on, say it with me. Say, Ask a Producer. This is a show, this is a platform where we like to highlight producers, people, and you know, we're in the music business, but we like to highlight people, you know, who's producing something. We believe over here that everyone's a producer of something, but we just like to interview the ones who pushing that needle in that positive direction, who's making an impact on the community, for themselves, you know, as well as others. So, JR, how's your Friday, bro? How's this day been for you?
Man, it's going pretty good, man. The kids are out of school, as you can. I don't know if
They
you
out of
can
school
hear.
this Friday?
Yeah, they're out of school this Friday. Uh, are they? Oh, wait. I forgot. What
Yeah,
color is this
yeah.
Friday? But anyway, yeah, they are to school this Friday, and I can't complain, man. It's going.
Good, man. My Friday's been a swell of a day, just doing a lot of rearranging, you know, making room for that new. You know how you make room for that new, get rid of the old, make room for the new. And so y'all share this video, tag, you know, people who are into the music business. Listen, I said the music business. Business. Tag artists, tag you know, managers, tag you know, distribution people, personnel, you know, anyone that's into that field, into that industry, tag them. Share this video because we have a very special guest in the green room. You know, in this episode, you know, we're excited about it. You know, we expect some gem dropping information, and we like to take the journey, you know, with the people, with the guests that we bring on, you know, and tonight is no different. She hails from the nice I'm just gonna say nice because this place is not known for nice in a good way, but the nice atmosphere of Jacksonville, Florida. That's right, Jacksonville, Florida. Say this with me. Say, it's a new day. It's a new season. It's a new day. And you know, this person we hold near and dear to our hearts. We know her. She was introduced to us, or we got introduced to her actually right here on As Producer. She was watching our show and she reached out to us, and we kind of established a relationship from there. We did some business from there, and it's been all good ever since. So I want to introduce to some and present to others. It's a new day. The one, the only Miss Felicia Day.
Hey, you
Woo!
guys, that was amazing.
It's a new
Welcome.
It's
season.
a new day.
Hey, you got the right last name. It's a new day, Miss Felicia Day.
Absolutely.
How you doing? How you
I
doing?
am doing wonderful on this beautiful Friday.
Oh
Good,
man,
good.
listen. I know I gave you just a little soft, light introduction, but why don't you introduce yourself to our platform?
Well, you know it's always hard to talk about yourself, right? You do know that,
Make
right?
it easy for us.
No, I am Felicia Day. I am the CEO and founder of Ndamix Music Group and Ndamix Entertainment. I am from Jacksonville, Florida, and I am actually I have a lot of things I do. I am a licensed minister. I also do a lot of prison ministry. So you see all that back there, some of that
Oh
prison
wow.
ministry stuff. I can also facilitate a program that is in the prisons called Thinking for a Change,
Mm.
and I do that because I am an executive director of Glorious Angels Reentry Housing. So I do a couple of things, and I also have a digital media television network. So that's me in a nutshell.
Now
I go ahead.
that sounds a little more than a couple of things. That sounds like you wear many
Many
different
hats. Yeah.
many
I
hats.
sometimes wish it was more hours in the day because I wish I could do more than what I do some days because I literally have to make myself stop because I can go and keep doing it because what happens is I put one thing down and then I pick up the next thing and
Oh,
if
we
you
know firsthand.
okay, so if you do something long enough, you're gonna start seeing some fruits to your labor, and when you start seeing the fruits, it honestly, it just really becomes one of them situations where you like, okay, I got to keep going, I got to take it to the next level. So that's kind of how I started doing a lot of this stuff as something to do, and it turned out to be a beautiful thing.
Now listen, now I know we're gonna focus on in the mix music group as well as in the mix entertainment, but you mentioned something earlier that I this you may have mentioned it before, like with us personally. I just didn't remember it. I don't remember, but you said you're a licensed minister.
Yes, I
So
am.
how long have you been licensed, and do you go when you say licensed minister? Do you go out and like bring the word at different
I
places?
do. Look, I do.
Wow.
I'm a licensed minister. I've been licensed since 2015. And really, I got involved with a lot of prison ministry. My mom, my stepmom, she started Glorious Angels Reentry Housing. And when she saw how dedicated I was to going in and out of the prisons, not only just to bring the word of God, but only to also go and get facilitated by the Florida Department of Corrections to be able to do thinking for a change. A lot of people don't realize that there are cognitive programs out there that support people who are trying to come home. And if you go through those cognitive programs, what happens is you get to get some, gain time. That's what they call it, where you can get out a little bit early.
Hmm.
Um, the other thing that happens is that the prisons actually get extra funding. Most people don't know that it's called JAG burn fundings. They get some funding from the federal government. And
Okay.
when they are actually implementing thinking for a change at their facility, they get some additional funding. So that's that. I am a licensed minister. I've done a lot of preaching, and I'm the one they call for funerals most of the time. So I've done lots of
Wow.
funerals. Yeah.
So you do a lot of hooping and hollering when you're preaching?
No, I did. One of the things is some. The problem is I'm gonna tell it like it is, preacher. And I have to look back at the pastor of the house and say, can I tell the
Is it okay?
truth? Because he, yeah, go on ahead. And some of them be really amazed at how well I can bring the word of God, because what it is you want to make it as simple as possible so that a child can even understand the meaning of each scripture. But sometimes, I go in there and sometimes I be done messed up the church money telling the truth, and you know how they go, and then they
You
be
messed
like,
up that
who
bottom
invited this
line.
radio? Who bought her? So I asked you,
First
could I
class.
tell the truth now?
So listen, now when we met you, and we got on a Zoom call with you, and within the first uh 15 or so minutes, you like, hey, I got another call in another 10 minutes. And it was like, man, who is this? Have you always been that driven? Like, is that something that you mentioned your mother saw that you were like very ambitious, I guess, or
Yeah.
from a youth? Where'd you get that from?
You know something? I'm gonna be honest with you. I really believe I got it from my dad, because this is the reason why I can. Because I always wondered, where did I get this drive from to just want to keep going? My dad, back in 2022, had a quadruple heart bypass done, and we were there with him. And when he got out of surgery, like a few hours later, they said, well, you're gonna have to walk around the nurses station. And I never saw my dad more determined to walk around the nurses station. And when he got back in the room, he was like, I did it. I was like, oh my God, that's where I get it from, because he was so determined. So, when you look at your parents, you really don't see them that way.
Hmm.
But, I realized then, I was like, I get my determination and drive from this man, because he really meant he was gonna recover and get better. And you guys see, he's doing amazing. He's doing fantastic. You would never know he had to have that, but I get that from him. Get that from him.
Awesome. So being driven, wearing a lot of hats. What got you into the music side of things? Like you have in the mix music group. You know, how did you even start that? What made you
Okay.
want to start that?
So this is really good. Okay. So I've always been into product placements.
Mm,
I used to work for a company that was based out of France, and what they would do, they would make these towelettes, and we actually happened to put the towelettes where they were PGA a licensee, and the towelettes could you could wipe them on you, keep mosquitoes and bugs off while you're playing golf. Long story short, so we kept trying to get the artwork on there correct, because you know that little golf man that they have on all when you're licensing stuff, that had to be absolutely correct. There was no errors. They wanted it the perfect shape. That it had to be everything. I had a whole marketing department over in France because the company was based out of France. And all of a sudden, a friend of mine, I went to go get my hair done at this stylist, and she was like, "Why you thin?" And I'm like, "Girl, because the PGA is stressing me." She was like, "Why are they stressing you?" I was like, "Because they keep my marketing team is doing this stuff, and every time they do it, they send it back and say it's not acceptable to put on the packaging." So I end up meeting a gentleman there. She was like, "This is the person who you need that'll help you with your graphics and all this stuff." End up meeting with him. Long story short, he was in the music business. He was
Mm.
in the music business, secular rap, Yo Gotti, Young Cash, T Pain, all those guys there. So they all used to hang out. So he came and he did the graphics for me, and they was like, "We love this," and bada bing, bada boom. I was like, "You know, you really saved me on this." He was like, "Yeah." I was like, "So what do you do?" And he was like, "I'm in the music business." And I was like, "What do you do in the music business?" He says, "Well, I make all the graphics and all the stuff for the artists." And I was like, "Oh, okay." So at that point, I did a case study. I just did it because I just wanted to find out, what the music business was all about. I love music. So I did a case study, and then I started seeing So Def was under certain major labels, and Sean Puffy Combs was under certain labels. They were sub labels, so I saw all these sub labels, and I was like, these people are making money hand over fist. So I literally started talking to that gentleman, and we actually became partners in the beginning. In the mix actually started out in the secular rap world because that was who we were connected with, and those were all the people who we were connected with. So
Was you a pastor back then?
huh? I wasn't that close to God at that time. Let me just say that. I didn't have this personal relationship with God. So
Go ahead, go ahead.
fast forward, the market crashed, and we with the housing market crash, and he was like, "Felicia, we might have to table this because ain't nobody spending no money. Everybody trying to figure this thing out." So we end up tabling it into like maybe 2011, and then 2011 I started really getting back into it. But I realized God had did a whole bunch of transitions with me between then and when we got back in it, and I was like, "Look, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to push the music on the secular side like that. I'm a different person." And I said, "I just don't feel comfortable with being in those environments like how I used to hang out with y'all." And he was like, "I understand that." He was like, I said, "So, I'm a minister now. I'm studying to be a minister." And he was like, "Okay, that's what's up. Let's do the gospel side." I was like,
You
"Okay."
gotta make that money.
He was like, "Let's do the gospel side." And I was like, "Okay." So I started out with one artist, and it just blossomed from there. I literally started out with that artist, probably, I think it was like in 2015. And then it just, from 2015 on, it just blossomed.
Wow. Now, are you guys still currently working together?
We are not working together. We have worked on several projects before, but I can say this: they are very heavy in the music industry. A lot of, at that time when I went to them to present being a music artist, they had given up that dream. That was something, they had to said, "I done had kids, I got a life, that ain't something that I'm gonna be able to do." But then when they saw all the things that In the Mix was able to do, how we were really literally taking the business models that we had for other things that like I had done for product placements and stuff like that, and we implemented it with our artists, and the artists start getting all this brand recognition, and the mix started getting a lot of brand recognition because we started being what I call in the indie circuit. It's an indie circuit. If you don't know that, it's an indie circuit out there. If you're an independent gospel artist, you better know who the indie circuit is, because that group of people will direct you and lead you to know how to get the respect of your peers as well as other industry people that are independent and make some serious moves for you.
I have two questions out of what you said. number one, I want to go back. You said that you did a case study on that market.
Yeah.
Now, those are college words. Like, let our audience know what a case study is. How do you do that? And what are you looking for when you do this type of study?
Well, one of the things I was looking for, and ironically that you said that, I had been, I think I had gotten my degree from Jacksonville University. Go
Mm,
Fins!
okay.
I'm a Dolphin for life. So I got my bachelor's in business from Jacksonville University. And of course, when you do that, you have to have some case studies. Another one of my case studies that I did was for Apple. So I said, you know what? Let me take this, take this business, this music business, and do a case study. It went into looking at a lot of research about basically how these businesses were formatted, what their models were, and how they were generating revenue, how were their longevity, and what were their mistakes, some of the things they could have done better. So I kind of just went digging, just really just trying to find out. And one of the things I did learn in the music industry is that it is definitely driven by more than just music. It's definitely a relationship business. And I could see that as I was looking at the case study from, looking at So Def, looking at all these other record labels that I was looking at, well, they're called sub labels. And that's when I realized, what happens is a lot of people don't realize this. You're looking at them and you think that they're this huge, big label. All of us are connected to three major labels.
Yeah,
We're
yeah.
all connected to them. So at that time in my life, I would have gave my left eyeball to be a sub label of one of those major labels. I would have gave my left eyeball. I promise. I would yeah, look. I would have just gave it. But at that time, God knew that I didn't have the infrastructure. I needed to continue to build the relationship so that I could become a minister and do more for God's people. He just did not allow that to happen for me at that time. At that time.
And also, my other question that I wanted to ask, when you got into it with your business partner, did you guys, was it called In the Mix
It was
there?
called In the Mix. We literally, I was like, what are we going to call it? So he was like, I don't know, So we started with something with dark something, and one of the guys I think that managed Young Cash, he was like, "Why y'all calling it a dark name? If y'all gonna be doing gospel, shouldn't it be something light?" you know. So it's like, yeah, and he was like, "Well, it's not just gospel. We're gonna do all kinds of music. We want everybody to get in the mix." And then he was like, "That's what we should call it, in the mix, because we want all types of music. It's not just one type of music." And I was like, "You know what? I think you got something there." So we
Right.
stuck with In the Mix, and even though my partner, the partner that I started with, is no longer doing business with me, it grew. I grew the brand, and I'm very happy for what has happened with it. But
Now,
it's a lot of hard work. I'm not gonna
uh,
make it seem like it's something easy I can do, because it's extremely hard. I don't encourage anyone to look at this and think that it just automatically happens. This has been years of a constant nose at the grindstone, seriously.
and that definitely can be hard, running a business and starting from the bottom and all those things. But I do want to back up to, you mentioned something about sub labels. Now, is in
Right.
the mix a sub label? Is it?
Let me
I,
let me tell you about that God we serve. Okay. So the God we serve obviously felt like, I'm going to give her what she wants.
wow.
And not only am I a sub label, I'm a dual distributor of music. I digitally distribute music through Monarch Music, which is out of Nashville. And I also digitally distribute music from InGrooves, which is Universal Music's digital distribution. So it's so funny. I did all the case studies, I did all the work, and I was ready. I would have gave my left eyeball for nothing. God saw fit to give me a dual distribution so I can actually distribute artists either at Monarch Music or Universal InGrooves.
And
So
that was gonna be my follow up question. Like, just to be clear, exactly what was it that you and your partner at the time were doing? And you said a distribution. Y'all were doing that back then.
No, this is
What
the
was y'all doing?
thing. We back then we were learning the independent gospel industry, and there were, everybody was like, you want to know, you want to get a Stellar, you want to get a Dove. I knew about the Grammys, the Billboard Awards. I knew about awards, but the Doves and the Stellars, I really did not know all about that because I was not into gospel music, and we learned the industry. So that's what was happening. My partner, he was more like, he'll throw out some money in the mix, but he really wasn't in the making of
In the
going
grind of
out. Yeah. So I literally was everywhere learning about this industry. And I'm one of those type people, if you can see, I did a case study on something I found that I thought might be interesting when I wanted to know how these people making all this money. So I'm that type of person. I have to literally roll up my sleeves, get an understanding of it, study it and know the ins and outs of it. So my artist, the artist that I started out with, one year she said, I want to go to this. And this was the Rhythm of Gospel. And it was in Memphis, Tennessee. So we went to Memphis, Tennessee. And in Memphis, Tennessee, we met James L. Patterson because she knew him on Facebook.
mm,
So she said, oh, he's here, he's here. And I was like, who's here? And she was like, James L. Patterson. And she was like, he's saying that we can meet. And so I was like, okay. So when I met with James, James was with another person named Gabe. And Gabe was part of this group that called um, something about a music group. They had this every week. They had this music group where they brought in all these people and all this stuff. So I was asking all these questions, and Gabe was like, you know what? You asking all these business questions, and you need to go to this music
seminar.
yeah, that they do every Monday night. They were doing it every Monday night. And when I got in there, I listened to some of the best people: Henry Harris, who's with radio, Kevin James, who's with radio and marketing. I mean, they brought all these amazing people in. And I'm telling you, I would write like a crazy woman when they would be talking about all this stuff. Then I'd go back and research it. So in that time, it was a lot of, not just thinking I could do it, really listening to the pioneers in the business talking about it, about the whether you can afford radio, whether you should really how your music should be presented. Because a lot of people would give you a CD and a little white little piece of paper, the little white little cover. They used to give you the CD,
Sleeve.
you
The
know how
sleeve,
that
yeah.
went.
Mhm.
So they would talk. Let's talk gospel. That's what it was called. Let's talk gospel. And they would have that every Monday night. And it was nothing like this. It was no podcast. It was nothing like this. We would all get in a conference call and they would just talk music business. And the more I heard about it, the more I fell in love with it. It's so funny. Henry Harris wrote a book, and when I bought that book, it's a quick read. I'm telling you, it ain't a 30-minute read. It's a quick read, little quick book. And I went through that book, and for it to be a quick read, it was packed with information. And after that, I just started, putting everything in order. The way the artist needed to be presented, the way in the mix needed to be presented. It was by the grace of God that I ended up becoming a distributor because
Wow.
in 2020 I was literally I was getting all the information. Of course, you guys know I'm a research nut, getting all the information together for my digital media television network, and I was really going to pull away from the music industry.
We're gonna pause right there. Don't you guys go anywhere. Don't pull away from this podcast right now. When we come back, we want to dive into what made Miss Felicia Day want to get out of the music, as well as her network of the entertainment side of things, and some of your artists. All when we come back at Ask a Producer. And we're back. Listen, we're here rocking at Ask a Producer with Miss Felicia Day. And we're so glad that she's here honoring this podcast, honoring us with her presence. Now, before the break, Miss Felicia was expressing how she was about to get out of just the music business completely. But God, the right hand of the master intervened. So Miss Felicia, tell us about that intervention. What happened? What made you want to get out, and why'd you stick it through?
Okay, so I want to be truthful as possible. Sometimes independent artists they begin to believe their own press clippings, and
Mm,
when I say
mhm.
believe your own press clippings, it means that some of the stuff that the marketing and the managers are doing, and we're behind the scenes making all this stuff happen, the artists literally start thinking, okay, I've arrived, and they could become a little diva-ish,
Oh,
or they can think that they are completely there. And I'm gonna be real honest with you guys. I'm kind of one of these people. If you tell me what it is that you're looking to do, if I can do it, I'm gonna do my best for it. But when I give you my very best and it's not good enough, okay, this is, if you don't know me, that's me. That's my life. I'm just going to be honest with you. If I give you my best, because I don't do stuff haphazardly, I just don't. I
Mm,
just, I'm very intentional with the stuff that I do. So if I give you my very best and that's not good enough for you, if you're running around looking at what everybody else is doing, because you want me to do what they're doing because you're seeing their success. We've fallen so far from what kingdom work is to now you're just coveting what other people want because you want to feel the same way they're feeling. I mean, it feels good to say, I'm going to go back in the studio and make some new music. That feels good rolling off the tongue when that's your dream. But at the same time, what did you do to market the music that came before that?
nothing.
So I was getting into the point where I'm constantly trying to get the artist to understand there are some things that you need to do before we get to that point. And the budget, a lot of artists don't realize that there is no more labels getting this. The A&R person now is artist research. If you really want to know the truth, and artist research is really going on a program that music labels use. I use it, the radio stations use it. They can pull your name up and they can see what you are doing on every social media platform, whether you're trending, if your music is being played, where how many streams you have on all digital platforms that are out there. And a lot of artists they want to get their music on the radio, and it's I want to get my music on the radio. I want to get my music on the radio, and I'm like, you do realize we have to pay for promotionals for that. It's not, there's another word they used to use, but we're not going to use that because that's a federal offense. So we're going to use the
I'm about to
word
say it.
promotional.
Starts with a P.
We're going to use the word promotionals. So a lot of them would go broke trying to just get in the top 50, the top 25 to stay there consecutively so they can meet these criterias of these award shows. I'm not going to say any
Oh,
names.
wait. You said a lot. Wait. Now you Jim dropping. Hold on. You just said and you capped it off for these award shows. Can you elaborate a little bit on that?
Okay. So there are award shows, independent and mainstream. Most independents don't require this, but most mainstream award organizations require that you have been on the certain charting,
Mm,
the billboard media base. They want to see that you've charted, and they
yeah,
don't want to see that you've charted down in 200, 150. They want
right.
you to be in the top 25. Well,
That's right.
take it from somebody who now is a music distributor who works with the labels. The top 25 is owned for their top dollar making artists. You want to get your music on the radio, and that's exciting for you. And I understand that. But it requires three important things. One, you got to have a budget. Okay, that's number one.
Two, you gotta have
Two,
a budget.
we're gonna come back to that again. Two, you've got to be making moves in the music industry. So when they go to that program that all of us have, they see that you're growing, you're trending. And three, is your music good enough for them to pull Kirk Franklin's music, or if, for them to pull, even if it's an older song, if they got it on number 25, they don't want to pull Kirk from there because the radio station is about making money. And if I'm listening to a song I've never heard before, I'm going to change the channel. So I've talked to radio programmers who say, "Oh no, we don't do independent artist music." I'm like, "You're missing out on a really good group of music." He said, "Well, I have to pay the bills, and the only thing that keep me paying the bills is the mainstream artist music because I know that I'm going to be able to play commercials that these people are going to listen to because they want to listen to the next mainstream artist. If I put your independent artist in here, they gonna turn my station." He says, "As a matter of fact, I got my station set where it can't play nothing but mainstream artists." I said, "Well, thank you, sir." I'm just saying. So I
That's a
mean, and
wake up
that's the truth. And the other thing is you have to get on an iHeart radio station. These are radio stations that are syndicated. And if you're not going to get on a syndicated show, your music's not going to be played nationwide. Now, if you're an artist that wants to do a radio campaign, a promotion, a radio tour or something like that, radio tour, and you want to get into the South Carolina market, the Green, I mean Augusta market, all that. There are certain radio stations that tap into that and they can play your music enough if you get them the right promotional so they can put it in there where you can chart. And I don't think that those are wasted opportunities. If you're going to do a radio tour in those areas, of course you want your music playing on the radio before you go there as a tour.
Right.
But there are some award programs who feel like, look, you need to be in the top 25 for 4 weeks, 4 to 6 weeks. You need to stay on that chart for 4 to 6 weeks.
In
You know,
order to come to be
to
tapped on the
qualify
shoulder to come to the show,
to
perform
yeah
on the
to be
show.
nominated for the show or perform it. Oh, you ain't getting that. you you better,
Hey,
you better go to one of them little side shows somebody doing to perform. You ain't get
outside.
no. You're not gonna get on that them big stages like that. Them people got
hey,
major corporate sponsors, and they have told these major corporate sponsors the people who gonna be on that stage gonna truly bring some people out to buy the tickets. So no, don't think you're gonna be an independent artist that done got a nomination and you gonna be on their main stage. Stop the madness, I said, please.
so let's pause. Let's pause because I really I don't want to move forward because I want this to sink in to the listeners. This is real talk right here. Here's what I hear. This is what I hear, and this is something that I've known for a while. When I put out my first song, I kind of got a run of the whole gamut of things, and it doesn't take me long. It don't take me long to catch on. Like, oh, I see how this goes. But what I hear is the award shows kind of run things. Let's say because if you get a main artist, Kurt Franklin, somebody, right? If they're going to be performing, like you said, on an award show, they got to be able to put butts in the seats, selling those tickets, etc. What I hear from the root is like, this is a business, so don't get it twisted.
Oh,
I don't care how much you say, I love Jesus and God. Hey, business, right?
mhm.
You can blow the notes off the page. You can sing the paint off the walls. But I'm here to tell you, if you don't have the social media, the followings, if you don't have the money for the
That's what they're
budget to
looking
do
for.
for the
Yeah.
radio, if you don't have these things, because what you're competing against, and nobody wants to hear this, nobody wants to hear this.
Mhm.
What you're competing against is the labels. They
Yeah.
are going to have the money to
Yeah,
put
they got
the
to be
radio budget.
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
they're going
That's
to
what
have
you're
that.
competing against. And you
Okay,
just a little
because
ant competing against a giant.
you competing with them.
Yeah.
They are the ones who are talking to these award show programs that bring in all of those people.
Mhm.
They are the ones who are making these. Well, I'm gonna bring my artist, and trust me, when that artist come to get put on that stage, oh baby, they ain't paying no showcase fee.
Mm.
They paying
Oh,
some money.
yeah.
They know
It,
they're gonna get that money from the label to put that artist on that main stage.
so I just want to repeat the three things you said. Number one can go for all three. You need a budget. You need money. Basically, what I'm saying. And when we say budget, we don't mean like, okay, you got here and you cap it here. Meaning you just got a deep well of financial resources to pull from.
Be
Uh,
strategic with it. Don't misappropriate your funds, but you're gonna need a long budget.
Yeah.
and this is after you got your record or your song or songs recorded, after you paid producers to make. After all of that, you still need this money, this budget to for
No,
radio promotions.
that's
Right.
where
Go
the
ahead,
real
Jack.
work begins. That's where the real work
Oh
begins.
man.
Because a lot of artists stop right after they record and they hear themselves on the radio. They stop. Nah, there's more work you got to do if you wanted to for it to succeed. You got to have
I
your
would say
budget.
that's just half.
Yeah,
That's
you know what I'm
getting the
saying.
song produced and putting it on
Honestly,
like
that's one quarter of it. It's
yeah.
four components of what that music is. The first component is the fun part. It's making it. It's being
Yeah,
in the studio. The second component is if you are seriously thinking about putting that music on radio and anywhere else, you need a budget, a strong budget for marketing and for radio promotionals.
hmm
Then you have to build your fan base. So there's a social media marketing budget you need there. I mean, you got a lot of things you got to put in place. Okay. So you got the music made, now you got the radio budget, now you got the social media marketing budget, and then you've got to also make a presence out in the public. You got to be at some of these major award, these little side award shows just to make a name for yourself. Because if
right.
the people in the independent industry don't respect you or don't know who you is, they're gonna be looking like, who is that?
and,
How
Where
much
and
they
he
come
paid to get
from?
there? How much he paid to get there?
Yeah. Well,
this is
who that? I'm not voting for him because you do have. They used to have it where you could be a voting member, and those voting members could vote for you. I'm not voting for him. Who he?
yeah.
I don't
And
know him.
is that
So
is that one thing that I guess the aspiring artists have to go through? Like, you
build
see
the
people
relationship.
they
Remember,
put out, hey, my song is on this chart, or can you vote for me? Is that something that
yes.
you see it like, hey, you got to go through
Yes.
this?
So when you see people putting out Grammy consideration, Dove consideration,
Stellar.
they're really marketing to the people who have those voting rights to think about them when it's that time. So you got to put out, like I said, it's four components of this. You got to have money to really put yourself out there. Go to some of those award shows, make your presence known. It's great networking opportunity. If don't nobody know who you are in person, trust me, it's hard for them to follow you online.
Yeah.
Then that's your baseline because now you've made these people know you and they're all following you because they've had an opportunity to be in the same room with you or do something with you. And of course, like I said, you have to have a social media budget right now. A lot of people don't even have. Listen, let me explain something to you in the kindest way I can. The labels come and they tap me on the shoulder and say, Felicia, this person ain't got 10,000 followers. Now we know you love God, but you got to do better. Where are we going to make some money with this person? Where are we going to make some money with this person? And I'm like, have you listened to the music, Felicia? There's not one piece of music that you do not send to us that is not great music. It's not about that. They have to understand that we are looking at this as numbers. So that's pretty much
I,
that.
I,
oh
I, I was
yeah.
gonna I was gonna say something right there. When you say we're looking at numbers, this might be a little smidgen of a reason why people go a certain route to make them numbers look away.
Oh,
So,
they can do whatever they want to do, but honey, listen,
It's,
when you
it's
digitally
smart.
distributing through them labels, baby, they got the programs to identify your little lying self. Okay, so you better not bring no bots. And you
Yeah,
better not, people be like, oh well, I got bots and stuff, baby. Listen, if you ain't got something that's gonna bring some organic followers, Houston, we got a problem because
and that's what I mean.
they're gonna kick out your streams. They're gonna
yeah.
kick out your money.
That stuff already been tested before it came out to the market until everybody got tapped to it. So they already know that they can find out if you faking it or you for real.
Yeah.
But I did wanted to add, with all of this, as an artist, you got to have a team. You got to have people that's going to work with you, and you got to have that budget. You can't do this by yourself, especially if you don't really know what's going on out there. You need crew.
People that understand
Exactly. You need a
their
team of
role.
people to get you where you need to go. You can't be an island in this world by yourself, or you're going to get
I love
sucked
that.
up, or you're not even going to make it.
I love that. And that is the God's honest truth. Surround yourself with a good team. Try not to bring so many family members
Yeah.
because they're going to love you to the point where they're going to hinder you.
And leave your
Yeah.
pride.
And you got some family members people don't want to deal with because they just don't want to deal with them because they interested. And look, they interested. They love you, but they
So
interested.
I want to tie this into what I initially asked, like you said, like I almost got out of the music side of things and just like I'm going a different way.
Right.
Was some of the things that we just spoke about, all the four things that you gotta have, and was some of these things connected into why you kind of like, you know what, this is a little too much. I want to get out.
Well, in 2019 my mom passed, and at that point I kind of had a zero tolerance. I'm a real patient person, and I really try to be understanding to what the artist is trying to expect, and I'll go all 9 miles out for him. I'll go all out. But at that point, after my mom died, I was like, I was healing through grief, so I didn't have the energy to deal with that. I didn't. And, if you're going to manage artists, or if you're going to be a part of an artist's reason to grow in this industry, you have to mentally be prepared for it. A lot of people say artists get hurt. They talk so bad about some promoters and some managers, and half of them don't know that promoters and managers have feelings just like they do. They say stuff and they do stuff. You would not believe some of the stuff that some of us, people, my peers and I have been through from emotional stuff. That's why I got some peers. They like, man, I don't do nothing for them. You do too much for them. I don't do nothing for them because I broke my knuckles, bust my knuckles against the concrete, and then they turn around and they'll go and be with somebody else. And it's like that. The artists don't realize that these people have made a commitment to you, and when you're showing that side of yourself,
Oh man.
it is emotionally distressing.
Yeah.
I'm just going to
and,
be very honest with you. It is
and you're
emotionally
burning bridges.
distressing. You
Yeah.
You're burning
are.
bridges.
And at that point, what you do want to realize is that I was like, you know what? I'm already dealing with my mom's passing. I'm trying to heal. And then my mom and her brother was like this. We're like a tie in the road. The rubber on the tie hit the road. That's just how tight they was. So immediately after that, my uncle, he was a drug addict. He relapsed, and he OD'd. So I was going through a lot of stuff, and to endure sometimes the meanness of the artist. I mean, they expect you to drop, stop, and roll when they call, and it's like, come on, man, y'all don't even. Are you not looking at what we did just a little while ago? We made music history for you. This is something you could put in your book to say, I literally did this. And now, because you're looking at somebody else's, what they're doing, you just take the knife and stick it in the person back and just keep moving. So at that point, I had gotten introduced to digital media, television. And I love television. I always did love television. I could talk about all kinds of different angles and stuff. And when I saw that I could literally, start a digital media television network, I was like, let me do it. And, I've produced a lot of shows on that. My baby is the CHH Cypher Show, is something that I created. And it is really like an environment where Christian hip hop artists come and they actually work together. Even though it says it's a cipher, they each have an independent time where they can say off the dome a rap with a
Mm.
beat with a Bible verse or something, or a word of
That's
God, a
freestyle.
word of encouragement. But at the end of the competition, we broke them up into groups where those groups had to show, even though you are independently working to try to bring people to Christ, you still have to work together as a body of Christ. So we put them together and we gave them a theme, and they came off the dome with different things for their theme. So it was amazing. And you guys were amazing sponsors to that. So I want to thank you once again. Much love. And we are actually getting ready to put it out, because what happened was we had a snap with trying to make sure we had everything put together. And like I say, artists can be interesting. They can be interesting. So we had a little snafu, but to God be the glory. We are now working with some people that are going to be from Full Sail. We're getting ready to polish things up, and we're going to put it on pay per view on Ndamix Entertainment. Also, we're getting ready to, and I wasn't going to say anything about this, but you guys kind of brought it out in me. I'm talking about my baby, the CHH Cypher Show. Um, I have been invited to MEDM 2025, which is in the south of France, in Cannes, France. Where they do a film festival. So they do a show, they do an event there that's called MEDM. Is for international artists. We have a location called the Cotton Club there, and we're getting ready to do the CHH Cipher Show International. So I'm excited about
Wow.
that. Yeah, I'm
That's
excited.
great.
Wow. Is this the first place you actually spoke about this?
This is the first place. This is
Oh, you heard it here first.
Yeah, you heard it first here. I wasn't even going to make the announcement because I still had some stuff that I needed to get done, but I'm going to get it done and it's going to happen. So I might
Hey,
as
hey,
well
Felicia,
let let
make make make
ask
make
the
make sure
producer
you
be the
get
first one.
make sure you get that done now, because so we want to
Oh no
solidify
no no
as
no!
the
It's
producer the
happening. I
first.
already have the venue and everything. So that's
Okay.
the yeah. I already have the venue in France already. So it's like yeah, it's going down. So I'm excited about it, and I mean it's just one of these things where I during 2020 a lot of us was doing a lot of shows. I also did a podcast that had to do with inspirational authors and stuff like that. So I produced several shows that I really enjoy and that's how I went into television. We're currently growing. I am super excited because we have an affiliate program where if you're a content creator, you can bring your content over if you have a huge following. If they subscribe to In the Mix, your followers, if they subscribe to In the Mix, then you get paid every month that your subscriber stays within a mix. So we have one person who has come to In the Mix. She is a vlogger, she does travel and she has like over 15,000 followers on YouTube. She's not getting paid what she wanted to get paid on YouTube, but 5,000 of her followers have come over to you in the mix to watch her on the show and everything like that. And they've been consistent. So we're working to get to a benchmark, that a little goal that we've set, but it's been exciting. I love what I'm doing. And when you love what you're doing, you can do as many things as I do. You have to love everything that you do. I love the
So
music industry. I love being a digital distributor for Universal Music Group, In Grooves, and also Monarch Music Group in Nashville. I love it because I have great relationships with both of them.
Awesome.
how when you say in the mix, you said we. How many people is involved with your company in the mix?
Listen, I have relationships with some of everybody. Okay,
Okay.
one of my I have literally, I'm going to be honest with you. I have at least a group of 10 people that work with me. I
Nice.
probably work the hardest because it is mine.
Yeah.
And I don't want to ask them to do stuff that I won't do myself. But I do have at least 10 people that work with In the Mix and they are dedicated. They've been with In the Mix for years. I was blessed to meet another one of my business partners, Milton B. Allen, who has been in the music industry for years. He graduated from Howard University and he went directly into radio. So he's been in the business for years. And
Shout out to Milton.
it was, yeah, shout
Okay.
out to Milton. It was by the grace of God that another one of my peers, she was like, Felicia, I see how hard you go for your clients. I'm going to introduce you to this gentleman. And this is a serious man. Okay. I need you to understand. It's like, have anybody ever tried to tell you I'm going to crack the door open for you to go through the doors that you always wanted to go through? Well, that's what happened. She said, I
Mm.
want you to call him and I want you to talk to him. And he and I started talking. And before you know it, he connected me with everybody. That is how I became a dual distributor of music. And like I said, back then when I was doing secular hip hop, baby, I would have gave this left eye for that thing. I would have been like, poop, here it is. But but God knew that I wasn't prepared for that. And He knew that I didn't have the infrastructure for that. And I just thank God for being all seeing, all knowing, because He's given me some amazing people that He's connected me with. Like I said, I'm doing some amazing things. In Grooves actually had this huge event down in Orlando just recently, and they introduced me to Will Covington. He's an amazing Grammy Award winning drummer. He's on the Grammy board. He's also on the board at Full Sail. And it's those kind of connections, those kind of relationships that really can open doors for you in a way you'll never even be able to believe.
Well, dope. Listen, how can you be reached? How can people connect with Felicia and your whole brand?
Okay, so I'm gonna tell you where I want you to go, because if you go there, you're gonna be able to get me. You're gonna be able to get me. If you go to Ndamix, NDAENT.com, NDAENT.com. That's going to take you to the network, and you can put in contact us, and I can immediately get your information, whatever you want to do. As a matter of fact, you get 7 days for free if you go and check. You can go and check out the the network. I have one little small announcement. Uh, we are super excited. We've gotten so much content from the major labels. We're now have Jonathan McReynolds out there. We have Todd Delaney out there, James Fortune, Michelle Williams from Destiny's Child. Her music's getting ready to be loaded onto our network. And we have so many music videos out there. So if you have a music video that you want to be played on Ndamix Entertainment, just send me a message, either at Ndamix Entertainment, www.ndaent.com, and I'll reach back out to you.
Perfect, perfect. Listen, we are definitely glad that you came on our podcast
I'm
and
glad that
blessed
you
us
invited me.
with the gems and the jewels and your journey. And we know everyone's journey, it's not ended yet. You're still going uh, through that journey to your destination. And I find that journeys are always fun. It's the process of going through it that, to
Yeah,
me, that makes it very fun.
yeah,
Because once you get to the destination, then that's it,
You
right?
start something else. If you're like me, you start something else.
Or another journey.
yeah.
So we're glad. We're definitely excited that you came on the pod.
Absolutely.
And just blessings to you, your business, your brand, everything that you got going on. JR, you got anything?
Felicia, thank you so much for joining us, man. Since
Absolutely.
we started, we've been on the road, and we're so appreciative of you. And
Well, you guys have been amazing. It's been a blessing to be able to bring um, some of Ndamix's finest artists to you guys. I honestly have to say, Brian Martin, you guys did some amazing stuff for his lyric video. Joy Crumb, Joy Fact out of India. You guys worked with her, and I was completely impressed when you did that. I was just over the moon about that one. So you've worked with Peep This. You've been really integral in the success of many of the Ndamix artists on the music side, and we definitely want to thank you guys. I could not have done this. You asked, where's my team? Well, then guess what? These are the kind of people that are my team. We learn what we need to do to support each other, and we become a team. If they
yeah,
need anything from me, I'm there for them, and they've been there for me, and I thank God for it.
thank you so much, because this is
You're
not the end.
welcome.
We're on
I
the
know, right?
We got plenty more to do, more work to do, more content to create. And so, listen, we're glad y'all share this video. Share this video, please. We appreciate it. Like it, thumbs up, comment. And look out for Felicia. Follow her on her network.
Yep. You
Subscribe.
could go out there to Instagram and Facebook. It's NDAMIX Music, in the mix music. That's all you got to look for, and then you're gonna see my face. You're gonna see
There you
half of
go.
my face
Get in the mix. Get in the mix.
in
In
the
the mix.
mix.
So listen, we're always gonna be in the mix, and we hope y'all stay in the mix. But until then, this is Ask a Producer. I am Gabriel. This is my co-host,
JR.
and we out, y'all.
Deuces.